3 things that every business owner should do in order to have a strong brand. Hi, my name is Derek Fahey. I am a registered patent attorney and a trademark attorney with the Plus IP firm. And this is going to be a video on 3 things that every brand owner should do in order to make a strong brand. So first off, number 1, be unique. So I'm wearing this bird shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts. People recognize it when they see it. I can't even wear it too often because it's such a cool shirt that people who I know, when I see it out, they tell me, hey, you're wearing that shirt again. Because it's so unique and recognizable and so fun and cool. They remember it. So just like this bird shirt, brand owners should think about creating a unique brand name that they can use to represent their goods and services. Now, legally speaking, there's actually what's called the trademark spectrum of distinctiveness. You have very strong brands, and then you have, on the other end of the spectrum, very weak brands. A strong brand are brands that are just totally made up words, like Xerox is a totally made up word. That is a very strong brand. Also on the strong end of the spectrum of brands that have nothing or that are unique or very arbitrary as to what they're doing. So for example, Apple for computers, Apple with the word Apple has nothing to do with a computer. It's a piece of fruit. I got some other examples too. Duty calls. Duty calls is also on the stronger end of the spectrum. Duty calls is actually a trademark registration for a porta potty or rental of portable sanitary restrooms, porta potties. What a great, fun, unique brand that it's just very memorable. Every time I see it, I have to laugh and I think, wow, if I'm ever gonna use a company for a porta potty, I'm going to call Duty Calls because it's memorable. And what you do, you just type into your search engine Duty Calls and try to find the company. Another one is sorry about that. It's All About the Base. All About the Base is actually one of my favorite brands for cauliflower pizza crust. We have cauliflower pizza crust. I used to not even know what the owner was. I just knew it, the tagline, All About the Base for pizza crust. Again, All About the Base, stronger brand because it's very kind of almost arbitrary, or you at least have to connect a few dots before you actually get to what the goods on the underlying goods are. Weak brands are brands that you can't protect. So for example, if you are selling energy drinks and you call your brand, energy drink, you're not gonna be able to protect it because it's not memorable. It describes exactly what you're selling. So if you want to make a strong brand that's memorable, think of arbitrary words that are not associated with the goods or services you're selling. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, well, wait a second. Actually, I want to have some certain terms that make my SEO, my search engine optimization, work well. You can do that, okay? But maybe do it in some other ways. You can do that in other ways to try to do that. For example, you can put that in your taglines. You can put that in other parts of the actual brand product. But if you want to talk about the brand name, you're going to have a word. You're going to have a brand that's arbitrary or a made up word that has nothing to do with the product you're selling. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2. You always, when you think about brands, you also want to do a search. The last thing you want to do is develop a brand that's infringing on somebody else's trademark rights or service mark rights. So you need to do a search of at least the USPTO or other databases to see if your brand has already been used or your brand is confusingly similar with other brands. If your brand is Duty Calls, and you come up with a competitor, if you see a competitor that says Duty Call, just adding the S is not going to make a difference. There's several things that you have to look at to see if your mark is going to actually be confusingly similar with other brands. For example, you have to think about translations. If a word can be translated from another language into English or vice versa, those particular words could potentially affect whether or not your brand is confusingly similar with another brand. Another thing you have to think about is, if you're, for example, if you are using an acronym, is my acronym that I'm using for my brand, is that widely used in the industry? If it is, then it's not going to be a strong brand. So you have to think about that as well. Another thing you have to think about for when you're doing your searching is different sounds, different words are spelled different ways. Right now, what's really hot is removing one letter from a word. So for example, if your brand is Black, B-L-A-C-K, and somebody else spells B-L-K, that BLK brand could potentially affect your brand. So you need to have a trademark clearance search conducted to see if your mark is going to be confusingly similar or create a likelihood of confusion with the other brand. The last thing I think you need to do before actually developing your brand is you need to actually do some market research as to what people think about your brand name. Whether it's family or friends, I would try to get somebody that is not associated with you to make sure that you're doing some research to make sure that it makes sense. You may like a brand, but maybe other people don't like the brand name. But you have to think about that. When I say that is, if you are coming from another country, maybe that word, your brand name in another country, has a really negative connotation in in the country you're moving into. You need to think about, how are people going to perceive my brand name in my new area? Is it going to have the same connotation? Some words have negative connotations in some countries, but not in others, and vice versa. So do some market research, ask people in the area that you know and trust, and potentially other people as well, they're not associated with you, that would give you an honest answer. Hey, does this word make sense, or does this brand make sense for what I'm trying to sell? So those are 3 things you can think about before you start developing a brand to make a strong brand. Number 1, be unique. Number 2, do a trademark clearance search to make sure that you're not going to create a likelihood of confusion with other already existing brands. And number 3, do some market research. Make sure that the brand makes sense for you and your business and what you're trying to sell in the area you're trying to sell. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. My name is Derek Fahey. I'm a registered patent attorney and a trademark attorney with the Plus IP firm. Please like and subscribe to the video. Also, you can reach out to us on Instagram, Derek Fahey PA. Hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great day and enjoy developing that brand. It's so much fun.